Hello everyone and welcome to my 1998 Saleen XP8. It's a 1998 Ford Explorer equipped with the V8 5-liter, famous from the Mustang world, but tailored to the Explorer. Saleen took it and gave a full makeover. Let's start with the exterior. As you can see here, the rear bumper and spoiler is perhaps two of the most noticeable features. The bumper goes over the existing bumper and is a nice cover. You can see here, this one has a trailer hitch installed. It's got the Saleen logos right here and right there. And the wing gives it a nice little dramatic flare at the end. One thing that I love is that you can open the upper hatch separate from the bottom to put your stuff in there. In the back, plenty of space. You can see there my Saleen Explorer owner's jacket, carpet, spare tools, etc. The rear seats fold down and it's fairly practical. Moving around the vehicle, you can see the side, which is another great angle. A couple things to call out here. Magnesium wheels, which is super rare, something you really only see in exotic cars or very modern cars. Saleen, for whatever reason, put them on an Explorer to save a few pounds. Not only are the wheels magnesium, but they're 18 inches. Again, by today's standards, that sounds small, but in 1998, that was some of the biggest wheels you could get. In fact, the concept of dubs was so rare that 20 inches was considered to be award-winning or revolutionary. So 18-inch wheels on an Explorer, pretty freaking cool. You also see here, there's not just side skirts, but it goes about halfway up the body of the car are the side claddings and moldings, which give it a distinct flair and more of a pronounced look. Moving around too, you can see the front. We're starting to see more changes. This one is equipped with the carbon composite hood. It's not functional, but darn does it look cool, giving the power bulge into two little inlets. The front bumper, also complete replacement cover. You can see there, more aggressive air dam. It retains the fog lights. I've replaced the headlights. Both front and rear bumpers have been totally resprayed and have no rock chips. Frankly, a little too pristine for the car, but they work great. The corner lenses were also replaced. The front grille was also repainted. So the front, other than the hood and fenders, have been completely resprayed into Ford Oxford white. Other work that was done includes a new decal kit since everything was faded, including the windshield banner, the Racecraft logos, the Saleen on the side, the numbers on the bumper, and a few other things. We also fully paint corrected the car. It's ceramic coated, including the wheels, which is great because the wheels are really hard to keep clean, and a few other odds and ends. I also installed a shorty antenna because the regular antenna looks ridiculous. And we did our best to restore the carbon fiber mirror caps. These are also a rare Saleen option. They've seen better days, but they're not too bad given the age of the vehicle as well as just the fact that it's a Ford Explorer. So bear with us there. So that is an exterior walkthrough. One other note is a second option that this car doesn't have is an upgraded Alcon big brake kit. The funny backstory with that is that Saleen issued those. It was a rather expensive upgrade, and then had to recall every single car that came equipped with them because the calipers would fall off while you were driving due to a manufacturing defect. So anyone that had the Saleen Alcon calipers likely had them removed and replaced at no cost, downgraded to the regular ones. In terms of defects, the only major one on this side of the vehicle is the weather stripping here is faded and kind of rough on a few areas. That'll go around there. The roof in general, the previous owner removed the roof rack. It doesn't look bad, but if you get close to the rails here, you can see there's just some fading and oxidation on the roof in general. My detailer didn't want to go too aggressive on trying to paint correct it because you could go all the way through the clear coat. So the roof could maybe be resprayed one day, or you just need to be careful about putting a protective wax on it, but not polishing it too heavy. Other known flaws, the bumper was resprayed. There was like a plastic textured cover here. It is now just paint matched. The windshield wiper holder thing here kind of comes loose, which isn't a big deal, but something to be disclosed. Let's see what else. There's looks like a little chip right there on the edge of this wing. And like really the wing ought to be resprayed if you're going for a Concours level restoration, but I think this vehicle is best seen as a driver. From this side, and man, does this angle look great. Again, the really only major defects are a couple Areas around the weather stripping that could be better. On the windows. The windows were all retinted as well. I went a little darker just because the interior is not its highlight. I thought it looked cool. This wheel has a little chipping around the center cap. It's also worth noting these are not OEM center caps. Because the magnesium wheels are so coveted, the center caps are nearly impossible to find. You can go on eBay and they run about $250 each. You can usually only find one at a time, and they're usually faded and beat up even at that price. So rather than sink $1,000 into faded, beat up center caps, I made my own. These are plastic center caps with a decal. I'm not a vinyl expert, so you could probably do a better job, but you know, it looks really good the second you back up. It's better than holes in there. So other cool call outs here will go underneath the car. A friend who works at Bilstein was able to find me brand new Bilstein shocks, which were part of the Racecraft suspension. It also came with an upgraded sway bar. You can see the Borla exhaust. This one has a turn down instead of going all the way through to the bumper. Something I thought about changing just to help a little bit with noise, but it's also pretty cool this way, so I didn't want to do that. It's a 3-inch outlet too, which helps with airflow and performance. A couple more flaws to point out. There's a light scrape right there under the paint. Right here on the corner, you can see a little bit of a chip where the doors connect. A couple chips in the hood there. Frankly, the hood fitment isn't the greatest in the world, but that's a product of 90s carbon fiber. I've done my best to line it up. A body shop could probably do a little bit better, but hey, there you go. A little bit of the mesh down here could use like resprayed or refinished in some sort, but not super noticeable. A little burn through on the paint there, but again, not noticeable when you get back. A few other little dings and such around the door from people getting in and out over the last 25 years or so. These pillars were badly faded, so we just wrapped them in gloss black vinyl. It looks great and blends right in, so I think it's nice, but just know that underneath there's a pretty bad fade. One other cool thing I forgot to point out in the car is that number right there. 27. So each year that Saleen made these, they numbered the cars, starting with 98, the production year, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. There were about 60 produced in 98, and then each year after that, fewer, and all the way through 2001. So that's where we think roughly 100 to 150 were ever produced. This is the 27th one produced in 1998, which was the first production year. So our 27th or 28th, as there's a prototype out there, XP8 ever built. Many of the first ones went to Saleen employees, friends and family, etc. So very early car, but you can see here, still looks great. One more cool thing Saleen did is they actually put a placard in each, signifying again the 9827 XP8. It was manufactured in March 98. You can see there, so you got your own serial number to guarantee its authenticity. One more shot of the engine bay in better color. Underside of the hood, nothing pretty, but this wiper cowl was also replaced, so it's brand new plastic. You can see some fading on the wiper arms if that bothers you. Sorry. One other thing you might notice is that Radwood sticker right there. Obviously not factory, but it won the Raddest Truck Award last year at SoCal Radwood. We'll do the interior tour next, starting with the rear hatch. Like I shown before, nothing too special. Cargo net's still there. Probably big trunk. The seats fold fine. The rear seats are pretty unexceptional. It has like little carbon fiber overlay. It's a decal. It is not great by today's standards, but it's very period correct. I love it. I've kept it in. Rear seats, again, it's a 60-40 split. Cocoa mats. These came factory with the Explorer. You can see that the carpet's got some staining here and there, some coffee spilled. I have a brand new carpet kit I never got around to installing. I think you could probably also do better with the steam cleaner, but included in the car, all the receipts. So I'll upload these to the auctions here, but you can see just tons of documentation on what was done when, how much I paid, all of that. So nice peace of mind. I always try to look for this when I'm buying cars, and I always start a new binder whenever I buy a car to keep track of everything. Moving up front, similar story here. You can see the carbon fiber overlays on the door. You can see that they're leather seats. There were optional Recaro seats. They're very hard to find. They don't hold up to time very well either from the ones that I've seen. The seats do have some cracking on them. Nothing horrible. It's all there. It all works. Maybe something you could restore a little bit better, but not too bad. The cocoa mats, also looking great. I bought these new with the cars. The original ones had gone missing, but match the factory Saleen specs. This car's also been signed by Steve and Molly Saleen, which is pretty cool. The Steve one has faded a little bit, but it's still there. It also has a placard on the inside notating its rarity and uniqueness here, so Saleen XP8. I attended an event at the Saleen headquarters and I gave out these cool little koozie cup holder things, so I put that in there. The carbon trim, factory radio with an aux in output. Moving around to the other side, this seat's the same. Seen better days, not horrible, what you would expect for a 98 Ford Explorer with 160,000 miles, if not, well, quite a bit better than your average Explorer. But it has some wear and tear, it's not perfect. All the window switches work. This window for the driver's side goes down a little bit slowly the first time you do it, and then fine after that. Saleen pedals. I had to buy these as the originals went missing off eBay. The cocoa mats. It is partly power on this side, all manual on the other side. It's got a carbon fiber, and I'll do air quotes for that one, even though you can't see my hands. Carbon fiber steering wheel. I replaced the cruise control modules. You can see here the mileage, 160,000. This may go up just a touch by the time it goes live, as this is a couple weeks out, and I love driving this thing. Up top, a look at the headliner. Pretty unremarkable up here, really. Maybe a little fading here and there. But no droops, it's intact, it's original as far as I can tell. Something you could maybe steam clean and get a little bit better, but honestly, I never notice it or bothered by it. And you could tell I put a lot of work into this car, so you probably won't notice or be bothered by it either. Center console lid was also replaced. These are a common wear item. It has the coin things. I've emptied everything out. Little fading there, you could sort of tell from the paint match from just the years. Maybe something you could improve upon. Not something I would worry about. That's the other side of the interior. One more shot just to show the carpet and the condition. Again, I would say it's pretty good. Not perfect, but way better than you would expect for a car of this age otherwise. One other cool piece of documentation here. You've got your Ford emblem, and then you've got your Saleen Explorer emblem over here. Again, still got all of our stickers and all of that. It's never been repainted as far as I can tell. Oh, little chip in the steering wheel here that will disclose. The RPM sometimes is a little lazy. The miles are counting and the miles per hour are counting. It's just, sometimes it'll tell you have 0 RPMs when obviously the engine's running. So without further ado, let's do the cold start just to demonstrate here. Nice and cool, nothing hot. Has not been turned on this morning or a couple days really. So we'll go on over here and go ahead. Back over here. Idling down. Like I said, this is a very cold start. It's been since Saturday. It's Monday now, so at least a couple of days that it's been sitting and cooling off, but she idles nicely. Again, you can see here it's starting to warm up, but no vibrations, nice and steady. No squeals, which was a pain to get sorted out, but it is. Everything looks dandy in here. All right, so driving time here. Let's fire this up. This is after the cold start and see how she goes. I'll let it idle for a second just so that you can hear how it sounds once it's warmed up. This is with the windows down. So it's a little loud, nothing too ricer or scary. It's certainly tolerable. I would take my 2 kids to school in it. They actually love it and they're gonna be pretty sad about it. Put the windows up there. Hopefully the GoPro is doing a decent job at showing the sound and how loud it is or isn't there. But overall, pretty drivable, pretty tame for a car that looks as ridiculous as it does, but a lot of fun. I'll do windows down to start. You can see here the window's a little slow to go down the first time. After you do that, it tends to work all right. All right, so driving my 1998 Saleen XP8 Ford Explorer. I'll start just around the neighborhood. I'm going low idle. I'll be quiet here. You can hear it's not super loud. Pretty easy to daily drive, which was sort of my intent. Again, I bought it to take the kids to school, have a fun rad dad vehicle to drive around. I put about 4,000 miles or so on the odometer, so enough time to really figure out if something was wrong or not working. I just kicked on the air, but the heat, the AC worked great, the radio, as well as I have a Bluetooth adapter for the tape, so you can get your tunes in here. You can see the kids just fine in the back. Runs and drives great. New alignment, new brakes, new tires. So there's no vibrations in the wheel. It runs pretty good. Oil temp's up, so I'm gonna let it rip here a little bit so you can hear it at its full glory. Then we'll do a couple with the windows down. Spun the tires loose there a little bit. Just over the speed limit, but you can really hear the supercharger whine. That custom cold air intake allows the full whine noise effect to happen. So sounds like a Hellcat, moves a lot slower obviously, but pretty cool. And then now I'm slowing down for a stoplight. Pretty quiet, pretty tame, and so on. I'll do some idling here, then I'll do another hard pull. Maybe I'll do the next one with the windows down just so you can get the full effect of what this thing can sound like at wide open throttle and with a little bit more noise piping into the cabin. Again, you can see the windows just a little slow to come down. Probably a window regulator that needs replaced soon, but big enough of a pain, I'm not going to do it yet. All right, green light, here we go. There you go, got a little wheel spin there. Hear a little bit more wind noise, I'm sure, with the GoPro, but now you've heard a nice pull there, both windows up, windows down. All right, so more driving. Love the sound of that supercharger pulley. So what I love best about this car is my first car, turned 16, was a 1995 Ford Explorer. It was around 2001. The first Fast and the Furious had just come out. I'd been obsessed with cars all of my life, but between getting my driver's license and car culture having a moment through Fast and the Furious, my car passion just went into overdrive. And the 95 Ford Explorer, which was a nice car for a kid that age, just became my singular obsession. I was a super moderator on FordExplorer.net. I spent all of my time working on my Explorer. Yeah, I love that sound. I was just like any 16-year-old kid, just over the moon about cars. So my Ford Explorer at the time, I put 18-inch wheels on it. I tried to do a couple mods. I put subwoofers in the back, kind of the stupid stuff you do as a high schooler. But I knew about the Saleen Explorer and I dreamed of it. I'd never even seen one before, but on the forums, online, like I was just like, man, one day success to me would be owning a Saleen XP8. That is just the coolest thing in the world. And here we are. I love this car. It's been so much fun, literally a dream come true. And I know that's a cliche saying in the car world, but I'd always wanted one. I got this one. It needed a little TLC, but nothing too terrible. And here we are going completely overboard on what could be one of the most pristine XP8s left on the planet. So it runs, drives great, it looks awesome. It gets looks everywhere you go. Most of the people, you almost get tired of asking or answering the question, what is that? Or did Saleen really make that? Or what engine's in it? Those kind of things. But it has been just so fun. And the only reason I'm really selling it is that I went a little overboard on my next sports car and kind of need the money. I also just need to have one fewer car. I have 4 cars and work from home. It's a little ridiculous. So this car, it's been an amazing 2 years. I've had a lot of fun. Doug offered to do a YouTube video of it. I think it was time. It won Radwood. I took it to the Saleen open house. It's been at Cars and Coffee a million times. It's been just a great project, and I think this is an awesome way to end on a high note. So I'm excited to share it. I really hope the next owner has a passion for these cars. I can't imagine you would just casually buy this car if you didn't, but especially if you love Saleen Mustangs, if you love 90s SUVs, if you love things that are quirky and weird and unusual, this is the right car for you. It's so cool. You're not going to find another one like it. I know myself when I was looking for this, and I've kind of been casually off and on looking. I've had Google alerts set up. I've been following Facebook and message boards and so on, trying to find one. I mean, you don't see them pop up more than maybe once, twice a year at most, and they can be in pretty ratty condition or have no service history, no documentation. And this one didn't either when I got it, but now you have a chance to get one that's really sorted out. And I don't normally drive like this, in case you're wondering, but since this is for a video, I want to, 1, showcase the amazing sounds of the supercharger and car in general, and 2, it's kind of a swan song for me in the car, so we're enjoying it properly, as you can tell. Extra parts include a new carpet kit, including the full car and trunk. Goodie box number 1, which is the OEM airbox, MAF, and heat shield. Another K&N, an aftermarket pop-up stereo I didn't care for, some extra wires, another MAF, the plugs, an SCT flash tuner so that you can switch tunes if you want something more aggressive or for a different pulley. And goodie box number 2 includes parts taken off to do the supercharger kit, including all these standard oil coolers, GT40 head, an aftercooler for the supercharger that's never been installed, extra pulleys and belts, some extra wires, random things that had to be taken out to put the supercharger in. Thanks for checking out my video. I hope you bid on my car. This has been my 1998 Saleen XP8. And please come in, bid early, bid often, because I made a bad financial decision over here. So it's time to unload this car and move on to the next project. Thanks for checking it out.